Failing the blink test recently cost the Gap $100 million in just under a month. You only get 3 to 5 seconds to pass the blink test. Today, we reveal the answer key. When your ideal individual first encounters your name, tagline, and logo, they decide how they feel about your brand in the first 3 to 5 seconds. The decision to delete or to dive in happens in the blink of an eye. One blink can be the difference between inspiring millions or being ignored by millions. So let's ace that blink test together. Does your brand pass the blink test? Hi everyone, this is Canon with Inspiration to Millions. Today we are going to explore and unravel the secrets to passing the blink test so your brand can come out of nowhere and be an inspiration to millions. I'm going to provide you with the secrets to pass the blink test by focusing on the emotional impact of a brand's first impression, name, tagline, and logo. So what is the blink test? In the wildly successful book, Blink, The Power of Thinking Without Thinking by Malcolm Gladwell, the world was introduced to the science behind rapid decision-making. The first impression is an emotional impression. People often won't remember exactly what was said, but they will remember how they felt, how you made them feel. We've all heard those adages, right? About first impressions. First impression is the most important. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Always make a good first impression. But have you ever wondered why first impressions are so important to everyone? Because the decision to allow someone new into our lives is an emotional decision. It's vulnerable. We don't know if we can trust them yet. Whether we're hiring someone new, dating someone new, or just passing by someone briefly on the street, our first reaction to the encounter is an emotional one. We often go with our gut. And research has shown that the decision to buy is also emotional. Did you know that MRI scans revealed that the same parts of our brain are lit up when we recognize a brand as when we recognize someone we love? When encountering a brand for the first time, we process it in the same way as meeting a person for the first time. We get a feeling and our brains light up in the emotional center, or they don't. The depth of the feeling we get influences whether we delete the memory of the brand or we dive in and make a bond with the brand. Ever see something that you just had to have right there? That's a brand acing the blink test. You get the blink of an eye to make that first impression, to influence your ideal individuals to get a feeling that your brand is right for them. Look, we see 5,000 ads a day, and we delete 99% of them. On top of that, we forget 70% of the new information, including a new brand, that we see every single day. So what does all this forgetting and deleting amount to for you? As a brand, you have that 3 to 5 seconds of their attention before they decide to delete you or to bond with you. That's the blink test. And what do they see in those make it or break it seconds? Brand name, brand tagline, and brand logo. So does your brand's blink test tell a story? Does it tell an emotional story? Can you name that emotion? Is that emotion consistent across all three, name, tagline, and logo? A good way to think about branding is to think about the first impression you make on new people you meet. They don't know you, they don't love you yet, they don't trust you yet. But if they're important to you, you must make the impression that they could love you and trust you once they get to know you, right? I mean, remember the last time you met your boyfriend or girlfriend's parents for the first time? How many verbal and nonverbal clues, hints, stories, family histories, anecdotes did you try to squeeze into that first 2-hour dinner? A lot, right? You knew it was up. Okay, so now imagine you have only 3 to 5 seconds to make that impression. That's the blink test. That brand name, tagline, and logo, those are the first things your ideal individuals encounter. That's the face, the introduction, the handshake of your brand. Okay, so now imagine your new amour's parent sees 5,000 new suitors a day. You can see why we delete 99% of ads. We're pros at getting that gut feeling that this is right for us or wrong for us. We're professional deleters. So in those 3 to 5 seconds, when your brand has their attention, when your ideal individual sees your name, tagline, and logo, you must move them to feel like, finally, someone made the thing I was looking for. This is me, I need this. And unless they lean in for the next 2 seconds and think, this is my tribe, this is what I've been looking for, this is the future I want for myself, unless they feel that in their gut, you get deleted. In Blink, Malcolm Gladwell suggests that this initial gut reaction is accurate far more often than it's not. However, the split decision-making process can also be inherently flawed because it's based on our own experiences, our own knowledge base, which can be limited or like too specific. And branding, this is why it's so important to value every vulnerability, to know your ideal individual so well that your name, tagline, and logo help them overcome their past negative experiences, any limiting belief systems they may be holding on to, any obstacles to buy. It boils down to this: the brand that knows them the best is the brand that passes the blink test. The brand that knows them the best is the brand that wins. So let's go over the secrets for passing the blink test. Your brand name. Here's what you need to remember about your brand name. Clarity outperforms clever every time. A mistake many new companies often make when naming their brand is choosing something that is too personal, like an inside joke. The blink test is pass-fail. Choosing a name that requires your ideal individual to figure it out is a fail. Remember, people will remember how you make them feel. Even if your name is kind of funny or cute, if your ideal individual doesn't understand it, they will feel like you don't understand them, right? People don't like to feel like they don't understand. It's likened with feeling stupid or like they missed something or they're on the outside of it. So to pass the blink test, you want your name to feel like home, welcoming, familiar, inclusive to your ideal individual. And here's the part that most entrepreneurs miss. That is not necessarily what it means for you personally. It's what it means for them. Today, let me give you an example. Subway is one of the world's most successful sandwich stores ever. When Subway was founded, it failed twice because of the name. The first name was Pete's Super Submarines. The store lost money the first year, so the founders thought it would be funny to change the name to, okay, get this, Doctors Associates, Inc. Yeah, this was based on an inside joke about one of the founders paying off his medical tuition with sandwiches. I mean, it's kind of funny, but people didn't get it. Of course they didn't. How could they? He basically named his company a joke that only his closest friends would get. And not getting it, not being in on the joke, alienates people. That's the death toll for a brand. Annoyed and confused aren't the best emotions for inspiring a sandwich craving. And under this weird, misleading doctor name, Subway nearly sank. So when naming your brand, don't play hard to get. Remember, clarity outperforms clever every time. Let your ideal individual know that you want them to be a part of your brand community by being clear, open, and inviting. Subway is clear, open, and inviting. I'm reminded of this Chinese proverb: the beginning of wisdom is to call things by their right name. Know the emotion you wish to inspire in your ideal individuals and choose a name that calls that emotion into being. Okay, the next secret is about your tagline. Your tagline is an invitation to a greater future. Studies show that 8 out of 10 of the average consumers will read a tagline, while only 2 out of 10 people will read the first paragraph of copy. Typically, a first paragraph would contain details about your brand's story, reveal its values, and make a promise for a greater future. To pass the blink test, your tagline should capture the essence of all three. How does one boil down a brand's entire story, its value system, and promise for a greater future, all in one concentrated sentence? The answer, again, is by knowing the emotion you wish to inspire and choosing a tagline that calls that emotion into being. That's not all. Your tagline should be an invitation to that. Should your ideal individual choose to accept, it holds the possibility of having a better life. Your tagline should be that invitation to the greater future that they are walking around this earth looking for. This is where our mantra at Inspiration to Millions comes into play. Value every vulnerability. When you value every vulnerability your ideal individuals have, it's really your time to shine as a brand, as a friend, as a leader, and as a community. Your ideal individual, when presented with your brand, is going to be faced with some limiting beliefs based on their past experiences. These limiting beliefs are obstacles to buy that your brand must overcome, all in 3 to 5 seconds of rapid decision-making, like test. The most common obstacles to buy are mindsets around time, money, ability, and peer pressure. Okay, Nike provides us with a great demonstration of how a tagline can change the game by valuing every vulnerability. Nike started out as a niche running shoe company that only really appealed to certain male athletes. Soon after a successful initial launch, Nike began to struggle to stay relevant. Gladwell wrote, "We don't always know where our first impressions come from or precisely what they mean. so we don't always appreciate the fragility. So Nike was failing the blink test with women. Nike was failing the blink test with people who weren't naturally athletic. Nike was failing the blink test with people who struggled with weight gain, people past a certain age who couldn't run anymore. These demographics amounted for over half of the US population. Nike didn't seem to stand a chance. The company had to lay off 20% of its staff nationwide. And in a last-ditch effort, they called in a few marketing experts who came up with, just do it. Within a year, Just Do It transformed Nike from being a men's niche running shoe company to a beloved inspirational company. That's powerful stuff. That's the power of branding. When Gandhi once said, in a simple way, you can shake the world. Just do it spoke to everyone, men, women, the young, the old, the rich, the poor, the athletic, the non-athletic, because it values every vulnerability, time, money, energy, and peer pressure. Just do it. You don't have enough time to make it to the gym? Just do it. Think you're too old to run a marathon? Just do it. Afraid of what others might think of you? If you fail, just do it. Are you starting to think up a tagline for your brand yet? Slogans for your products? Subtitles for your book? Good. Because Nike's customers weren't just inspired to change workout habits. Nike was receiving waves of fan mail from people that they were telling them that Just Do It inspired them to leave unfulfilling jobs, marry the love of their lives, follow all manners of previously abandoned dreams. They're getting letter after letter. Talk about an emotional branding message, a bonding between the brand's message and the consumer's desire for a greater future. Nike's tagline's only 3 words. These 3 words that ace the blink test with flying colors because it's an invitation. It's emotional. It's inclusive. It's welcoming to a greater future. Finally, let's look into the secrets of a great logo. In short, a logo is a simple story. American graphic designer Paul Rand, amazing, Paul Rand, he once said that a logo doesn't sell, it identifies. Very powerful. Let's dial into this. In a blink, your brand's logo should tell your ideal individual a clear and simple emotional story that reveals what your brand is all about. So how is that even possible? You may have guessed the answer is by knowing the emotion you wish to inspire and designing a logo that calls that emotion into being. Saul Bass, another famous graphic designer responsible for AT&T's Globe logo, once said that logos are a graphic extension of the internal realities of a company. The internal realities also of the consumers, right? The internal realities of any company, same as the internal realities of any person, are the emotions, the heart of your brand. The simplest truth that brought your brand to life, your brand's story. And the logo tells that story in its most simple, refined form, a picture, an image. And you know what a picture is worth, right? Most people are better at remembering faces than remembering names. And your logo is the face of your brand. Your ideal individual should be able to see your logo and not only identify your brand, but also identify with the emotional experience of using your brand. Identify with it so profoundly they wear it on their shirt or notebook. Or in the case of Apple and Nike, Adidas, people wear it permanently on their skin. They are so bonded with the identity of that brand that they brand it on their skin with tattoos. That's the power of branding. In fact, people identify so strongly with the brand's logo that changing an established logo can disrupt brand loyalty even if the product is exactly the same. Get this. Tropicana Pure Premium Orange Juice once tried to change their logo from that iconic orange with that red and white straw poking out. Remember those commercials with kids trying to stab the orange with a straw? It's classic. Tells a simple and delightful story. Anyway, Tropicana changed that orange to a close-up shot of a very generic-looking glass of orange juice. It didn't look bad per se. It wasn't off brand, but the layout was open and the overall look was fresh and bright. But people looked into the new face of Tropicana and they didn't recognize them anymore. Tropicana's customers were gone in a blink. The move cost Tropicana $137 million in sales in just over a month. Ouch. Did I mention failing the blink test can cost you millions? Gap had a similar experience when they changed their classic navy blue block logo to something else, and it doesn't even matter what they changed it to. What matters is that the face of the Gap brand that loyalists had known and loved for 20 years just disappeared overnight. And by the end of the first day, the social media backlash for the logo that they changed was so severe that Gap pulled off one of the fastest recalls of all time. In just 6 days, the classic navy blue logo had returned to Gap everywhere. The cost to Gap for this blink test fail was $100 million. 6 days. When looking at your logo, people want to self-identify. Know your ideal individual best and design a logo that relates to their internal reality. The brand that knows them the best passes the blink test and wins brand loyalty. No matter what business you're in, brand loyalty is your business plan. So let's review the secrets for acing the blink test, because I want to make sure you ace your blink test. They are your name. Remember, clarity outperforms clever every time. Your tagline is an invitation to a greater future. And your logo is a simple story. Utilize the secrets for passing the blink test to delete-proof your name, delete-proof your tagline, delete-proof your logo. Identify the emotion of your brand, the one that you wish to inspire, and answer the following questions. Does your brand name, tagline, and logo tell a story? Does it tell an emotional story? Can you name that emotion? It's so clear you can name it. Is that emotion consistent across all three? If you have those, then you have an ace in the hole for passing the blink test. Thank you so much for joining me today. The blink test is something many people dread, but now that you know the answer key, and as you come to know your ideal individuals better than all of your competition, the blink test can be your fast track to becoming an inspiration to millions, to being undeletable. Get out there and ace the blink test. And while you're at it, remember to love what you do and love how you do it. Thanks for watching. Don't miss out on a single thing. Subscribe below. And here's something else I think you'll love.